It's attached to it in that, like a shadow to the floor. And someone would say, sweep the shadow off the ground. It's the same thing as make that particle stick to the wave. It already is. People are odd because nothing is perfect, but it's the misconstruing that is problematic. I feel comfortable walking anywhere in this arena because there isn't wetness of the snow dripping all over the pavement. Because the pavement has been tempered with salt. So if you took a lick of this concrete, I'm sure that you would taste some salt. There's some white streaming line to better sanctify that depiction. So by me walking on the concrete when it was wet all around, I would be looking for dry spots, and people would think that like I'm walking kind of funny, but I was just trying to hit the dry spots so that the water didn't soak through my shoes, because I had holes in my old shoes and get into my socks. So I actually was having fun trying to keep the feet dry, but it looked definitely problematic. But the goal orientation was unknown to people without trying to keep the feet dry. So if you specified the game, it'll be able to have labels on things not needing labels, because the game is bigger orifice of that. The dovetailing, where you can have like different types of wood come together as long as it is cut into like a puzzle shape where all the puzzles come together. And that's also how gears can be different shapes as long as it is coming together. And that's important because you can have a wave function. Actually, it's inevitable that a wave function has to do that to any particle. So all of a sudden you're born, and then you see that these people got jewels, and apparently they're self-appointed, trying to rule the destiny of the world. Who am I talking about? I don't know, but if you don't know, then you need to accelerate any discontinuity to make that opposition explode, if it so be a thing. And if it isn't, then you just advance whatever the discontinuity was against for the continuity to commence. And that raises my eyebrows. You know, I scratch my head because NPR was saying only talk politics with people you trust. And that's not how I was brought up. And that's not how mathematics is told to be handled. You're told to work in groups, to find a problem, to work it out, even if you don't like the people in your group. Same as making toys in kindergarten. You put together the puzzle. When the odd one out has the piece, you say, hey buddy, did you mind placing it in the last position needed to finish the project? And it's usually the ugly duckling who has the last piece, because he was the one who's been holding on to it, unable to actively put the puzzle together from the start. So if you can say someone is politically incorrect and then say they can't show what they like because it's weird, then you're going to be taking the jewels to determine the destiny. If you can take the jewels and say that you control the destiny, that is like one thing that is not weird. People think that that is like heroic, and that to me is odd. And then here's where it's interestingly tied into the form and function, the design of the nature. How much does like the chemical matter actually handle whatever you're trying to do? Computing power and processing. If you want to be secure, running a wire, understanding what this wire is doing and how is it affecting nature itself. So not labeling everything, but understanding what it is without a label is super skillful. That's what rangers have been doing and why they're always important. When the sidewalk ends, that's an explanation of like how something is bad. And so when they're saying it's weird in mathematics, that is a problem that needs to get solved. And knowing that math is like a puzzle, it's always like a detention grabber to me. And throughout life, I've always heard the term, "that's weird." And whenever I hear that, I always associate with it because it is so easy to understand stuff when people are thinking that it isn't the correct thing. It opens the door to like see if it is reason, because you can see where it disconnected. So just as excitement and continuity are two different, it allows a variance that can show something that I struggle with, knowing if you're doing well in life and when to feel comfortable or not. You can need to know when to be a lamb or a lion. And some people, I feel, bend over and are just satisfied with rolling over and showing your belly when they would play safe. But when gambling is like not good, and that one song is like you need to know when to roll the dice or fold. So the main thing with continuity and excitement is that it allows a physical depiction, like in nature, the physical attribute, and then that's a literal thing that you can depict if you're bright enough to see it. And that's what I will be tackling, because there is a difference from the two, but you will be short-ended to do a shorthand pseudocode to think it's both 9 times out of 10 if you're not knowing the difference. This is inexplicably evident to everyone, even if you are not a professional at something. That's just what I was trying to infer, that professionalism is vast. Nowadays, AI is a contention. The opportunistic is great. So everyone's always saying, I'm really optimistic, just because they don't know how much AI is going to evaluate them. Because because they don't know what it curtails. So I'm trying to show how grassroots AI is by showing how it has been since the premonition of conception as a basic constituent. An inference, for instance, is institutionalized, meaning that you can get a certificate, or the certificate would say that you have completed a program, like Parsi's, really niche programs. And I say they're niche because once you've completed a program, it gives you the ability to use that in a designated area in order to say that you have completed the program and you are able to do that. But part of the problem is if you keep doing that and then you run into a example that is part of the inference but is more directed in doing the example over and over the majority of the amount of time, where the stuff that you used in the inference isn't implicated. Like just watching someone do jumping jacks when you've learned all their anatomy from your program. It's not even being utilized properly. And that's the difference between an inference and an example. And then another thing, these programs can be like a chemical put into your body is performing in an operation. That's a program. And a lot of programs can be just as long as it's from a root access point, like going in a circle. That's a program, literally. And then the chemicals, if they go into your body, it'll make you have energy, and then you'll lose energy from moving, and that's a program. And then there's a difference between an inference and an example. Separatists are easily confused for connoisseurs. I feel like I'm walking to an airport because I've got my backpack in my hand for my luggage. And if we were, there would be moving ground, like a treadmill extended. Things that are appropriate like this are actually used, but unless there's reason for it, they look odd. But if there is reason for it, it looks like a great advantage. Today I want to take you on a journey and look at all the advantages that could be taken if things didn't look odd.